Hello, Power Up Nation. I'm Pat Council. And on Designing Your Life today, I want to talk about the untapped part of you that brings achievement. So when it comes to achieving your goals, getting the things that you want, building your magnificent life, operating in your calling, and just putting your purpose out there so that not only can the rest of the world benefit from all the great things that you have to offer us, but you also receive the rewards for being obedient to that calling. So that's why I decided to talk about the untapped part of you that can bring you achievement. So because a lot of people actually come up with so many different reasons as to why they can't achieve. They talk themselves out of things. And I can remember even sometimes talking my own self out of something that I said I would do. And you know what? I tugged my own coattail and I said, no, you said you're going to do it this day, do it. This is what has allowed me to stay in business for more than 20 plus years. And this is what I imagine will keep me in business until I'm ready to not be in business anymore or to move on to do something different. So with that being said, and not only just keep me in business, but just sustain me across the board, physical, mental, emotional. So with that being said, before we really get into this, I want to remind you to go to designingyourlifetoday.com/success series. And there's some free downloads there for you. There's also a great recommended list of books that you can read that will empower you, inspire you, educate you, and just enlighten you. And when I say enlighten and inspire, I mean, it will spark something in you. These books, if you take the time to read them. Now, I know a lot of you want to do the audiobook thing, and audiobooks are fine. But studies have shown that when you actually take the time to read a book, you stimulate parts of your brain that would not be stimulated had you, if you listen to an audio tape. With that being said, or an audio MP3 or audio recording. With that being said, as long as you get the information, at the end of the day, get the information. But spend a little time reading, even if you spend, 5-10 minutes, 3 days a week reading. So let's kind of move on. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention to you is that I've kind of updated my blogs. And so there's also some blogs that will empower you, inspire you, and give you some insights when it comes to achieving your goals. I promised during this Summer Success Series that we would give you some information that will help get you back on track, that will help you kind of refine your focus or regain your focus, reignite and refresh your goals, and really just spend the time that you have now getting in shape, so to speak, for what you have to achieve tomorrow and throughout the rest of the year. The object of the game is for you to achieve the goals that you set this year, at least one of them. Okay. So let's get into this, the untapped part of you that brings achievement. Now, I wanted to talk about this because as I went through my list of things that I wanted to share with you guys during this success series, I remembered a story, and it wasn't on my list, but I remembered a story from a lady that I knew, and she was more of an acquaintance, and we would talk periodically whenever I would see her. And so she was always trying to get me to give her free business tips so that she could help her business succeed. And the funny thing about that is, even if I gave her a tip or two, because I don't mind sharing, you guys listen to this podcast to get information and you're not paying for this. And however, you could help by purchasing my book, High Impact Power Goal Setting. And what that does is it allows me to bring in the funds to pay the people who put the podcast together or who upload the podcast, but it also allows me to have the extra capital so I can actually buy more of the High Impact Power goal setting book, so that I can actually give those away. I actually donate those to battered women shelters. So with that being said, you're helping me keep this going for you, but you're also helping me help some others as well who need this kind of information. Okay, so that's my little short commercial there. So let's get back on track here. And as I was saying, she wants me to give her these free little tips here and there. And on one hand, I could be insulted that, wait a minute, you run a business, but you want me to teach everything to you free and you want to invest nothing. But I don't worry about that. So I'd give her a tip here and there. And then each time she would come back and she would say, you know what, the tip didn't work. And I said, really? And I said, well, let me ask you something. Did you work it? Did you use the tip? Well, I mean, I tried to use it. I said, so you have to be specific. When you use the word try with me, you have to be very specific as to what that means. Because try usually means that the person didn't do the work. And she said, well, I wrote it in my on my things to do list, and I just didn't really get to it yet. I said, well, how's it going to work if you don't work it? That's the first thing. So she actually tried one of the tips and she got a little bit of results. And then she came back and there was another complaint. And her complaint was, and I'm thinking to myself, you do realize this is free stuff, but that's okay. Okay, because I wanted it to work for her. And so then she comes back and she says, you know what? I actually used one of the tips that you gave me and I got some results, but I didn't get the kind of results that I was hoping for. So I decided to take a moment to kind of dig a little deeper, because if I share a tip, I know these tips work. I know whatever, when it comes to business, I'm very good at that because I have invested the time to become good. And I also have the actual real world experience. I didn't just pick up a book and read it and then started teaching it. I actually picked up a book, read it, implemented it, and failed a few times, and then went back and figured it out, got the results, and continue to get results consistently to this day. Doesn't mean I don't have challenges every now and then, but it means that I'm experienced with real experience. And I don't particularly need AI to do my thinking for me. However, I will say this, AI does save me time. All right, let's get back on track. So I decided to dig a little deeper with this lady, and I said, okay, let's talk a little bit about why you may not have gotten the results that you were expecting. And so the more we talked, I couldn't figure it out. And I said, there's no reason why you shouldn't have gotten, you've gotten some results. There's no reason why you shouldn't have gotten more results. So finally, to get to the end of the story, the more we talk, and each time I would see her, as a matter of fact, I said, listen, I'm going to give you my phone number and please call me when you are stuck. Because I wanted to know, okay, what was going on with her? Because I wanted her to win. And as you guys can see, I'm very passionate about what I do and very authentic. So with that being said, so we talked, and after a few weeks, here's what we found out. We found out that she did not like a certain group of people, because eventually it came out and she would talk so badly about this group of people. And the sad part about it is these were the groups they were a big part of the group that she needed to do business with. Okay. And so just in case, because I'm African American, if you're thinking they were African American, the answer to that is no. Okay. They were actually people from Puerto Rico. Okay. And she was Hispanic, but she was from somewhere else, and I can't quite remember where. But she always said, I don't like them. And I don't really kind of get into that kind of talk, but here's where I'm going with this. I told her, listen, I can give you 1,000 tips. These tips work, but it's because of the kind of energy that you're putting out towards actually your clients that's not causing it to work. And she says, well, I can have clients other than this particular clients from this particular group. And I said, but you don't understand. When you put out a kind of anger or kind of hatred or kind of, I guess, prejudice, if you will, against a group, and you need to do business with this group, you're actually sending a message that you're not interested in building your business. You're actually saying you're not willing to serve in the capacity that you are supposed to serve. Because when we serve based on the need. We serve based on what our skills are or what we're called to do. Now, I will give the caveat here. Now, if somebody's being obnoxious or rude, well, that's not about their race, okay? That is about the principles that they're operating under. So it's not about skin color or their ethnic makeup. It's not about that. So that's something very different. Nobody needs to put up with any kind of emotional or mental type abuse from someone who's rude. And I asked her, I said, so has somebody been rude to you? And I asked her the question. She says, no, I just don't like them. And I thought about that. And of course, she went to tell me a story about her father years ago. And her father has since passed on. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is why she wasn't thriving. And I said to her, you do realize that this is kind of slowing you down a bit. You are getting some results, but you've closed your heart off without recognizing it. So she, of course, me telling her that didn't do any good. She stuck to her guns, and she is now out of business. But I'm saying all of that to say that the untapped part of you that will help you achieve, that will help you get the results that you're after, is the spiritual part of you. Had she connected with her spirit, it would have been easier for her to let go of some things, because you have to understand what comes with our spirit and what doesn't come with our spirit. One of the things that doesn't come with our spirit is a spirit of fear. So usually when somebody has a kind of prejudice, there's a kind of fear that goes with that, a kind of feeling of being intimidated. Well, I don't like this entire group. Are you kidding me? You haven't met everybody in that group. So that's a fear. Okay. And your spirit, we have not been given a spirit of fear. And that's what the scripture tells us, that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So if our spirit is that we've been given by God is a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind, back to the story that I shared with you, this lady was operating outside of love, okay, which kind of dampened her power. Okay, she could get a little bit done and she got a little bit of results, but she couldn't get a lot of results because in order for us to, let's say, not love a whole group of people or even our family, or we can't get along with anybody, that's an indication of us, what's going on with the individual. That's what that is. But when you can connect with your spirit, now you can activate your power. You can understand and get that feeling of love. You can connect with love, okay, in your heart. And you can really have that sound mind. And that sound mind will give you answers. Your spirit will send those answers to your mind and say, hey, this is what's going on. And you'll feel convicted and you'll either make a change or you'll harden your heart and you won't make the change, which increases the fear. Now, just to kind of prove that point, back to the story that I was sharing with you about this lady, and she wasn't mean to me. She was a nice lady. Okay. She just had her little prejudice going on. All right. It's not little, but back to her. A part of her business involved her actually having to connect with people, not just through the internet, but in some cases on the phone and having a conversation with people, picking up the phone to do follow-up. And she was afraid to do that. So do you see what I'm saying here? What I'm trying to illustrate is that if you have not tapped into or connect with your spirit, then all kinds of fears can run rampant in your life and prevent you from achieving. Now, let's make it a little more personal. With that being said, take a moment and if it comes to mind, jot it down right now. What are you thinking about? Or what is going on that's stopping you from moving forward and just moving forward with such amazing confidence and power to achieve your goal? What do you think is stopping you? Think about it. What's going on inside your mind? What kind of messages are you allowing your mind to send to you, which causes you to not take the kind of action that's needed so that you can get the results that you desire? Well, if you want to move that out of the way, then you must tap into your spiritual self. You have to develop that spirit. You have to strengthen your spirit. And you go, oh my goodness, I think my spirit is pretty good. And that's up to you to decide. But here's the rest of this. If you are not renewing your mind daily, I can assure you there's always a little crack where fear will try and seep in and then make the hole bigger. Okay, turn the crack into a huge hole. So it's important that you renew your mind. That's another concept from the Bible. Okay, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so one of the things that, back to the story, that I suggested to the lady once I realized what was going on with her, I did suggest, I said, perhaps you should spend some time, quiet time. Do you pray? Oh, yeah, I pray. I said, perhaps you should pray for revelation or guidance and ask God to show you what you need to do in order to get your business going, but also ask God to remove anything that's hardening your heart. And so I usually follow up with people like that because I'm curious as to the outcome, but also because I'm genuinely interested in them getting results. And I said, well, did you pray that? Did you pray? And she says, well, yeah, I've been praying. And I said, are you praying the same thing you've always been praying? Well, pretty much, but I'm doing it every day. So the thing is, you have to take the time to renew your mind. You have to take the time to connect with God. You have to really spend that quiet time listening so that you can get instructions. And when I keep saying have to, and the reason why I say have to, I'm saying that if you want to achieve and you want to get beyond whatever obstacles that are stopping you and be prepared for whatever obstacles that are coming so that you can keep going forward, you must develop your spiritual side. Okay. Remember, I talk about emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. And the spirit sends instructions that can help all of your power cores be stronger. You can be stronger physically, mentally, emotionally. But if you don't tap into your spirit, and here's the thing, and this is not a judgment, but you guys know I promise to keep it real on this podcast. Here's the thing. People go in search of these different kind of what I call idols. And they pray to these idols as though these idols are going to fix their life. And they can understand why they feel more depressed, more miserable, and nothing's really happening. Okay, it's because you're not tapping into the power that exists within you, the power that God has given you. So with that being said, the untapped part of you that can bring achievement is your spirit. It can make you powerful beyond belief, give you ideas. Remember, I shared that the spirit is full of intuition and ideas, which goes to the soul. And the soul is made up of your mind, your will, and your emotions. And that allows you to carry out the mission. Okay, whatever this idea is, which you have now turned into a goal that you desire to achieve. See, sometimes we think when we have these wants and these desires, oh, I want a new wardrobe. Oh, I want more money. Oh, I want to build a better business. We think that this is all about us and us getting what we want. And you know what? At the end of the day, you will get it, but that's not the sole purpose that you are having being prompted with these ideas. The idea of let's say desiring a new wardrobe. And yes, I use desire now because we've switched to a different kind of energy. Want implies that it's so far away from you and not touchable. Desire implies that it's already in you because you see it and it is a done deal. Okay, it is there for you. So when these desires hit us, in order to get the wardrobe that you desire, there's a certain path you have to follow. There are certain things that you have to do to increase your income. Okay, so, and perhaps, let's say hypothetically, if you wanted the wardrobe where you were wearing a certain size. So that means physically there's some things that you have to do, such as exercise. And also on the physical part, you have to do what it takes to bring in money. So in order for you to get to that, there has to be some ideas that says, you know what, if you start this business or if you do this in your business, okay, and for those of you that still have a job and you're listening to this, or you need to do this on the job and go to your manager and ask for a promotion after you've done this. So you're prompted with these ideas. Now, here's the thing. If you do these things in your business, whatever that thing may be, or add this new thing to your business, or do this new thing on your job and then go ask, here's what happens. You start to move up in life. You become a better example for the people that are in your circle. You become a better example for people who see you but don't even know you personally. You also end up serving far more people than you thought about serving, and perhaps don't even realize that you're serving. So the point is, now you're serving and now you're going to get the reward. And that would be that wardrobe. So as it relates to you achieving your goals, as we start to wrap up here, as it relates to you achieving your goals, the best way for you to achieve your goal is to spend some time with your spirit, developing your spirit, strengthening your spirit. It's in you. It's there. It sends you messages all the time. You know, I've had people tell me, yeah, I had the idea to do this, but then I said, maybe another time. Or I have people, you know what, I have this great idea. And then I'll ask them the question, well, why are you not doing it? And then they tell me why they aren't doing it. Now, full disclosure, throughout my life, I've done the exact same thing, where I have these great ideas and did not follow through on them. But not to pat my own self on the back, there are very few ideas that I've come up with that I don't become passionate about. I have enough courage to put it out there. Sink or swim, I put it out there. Okay. And I follow through. Okay. And there's just I can think of maybe one or two that I'm not going to say that I didn't do them. Let's just say I haven't done them yet because they are on my list. And so, but either way, even if it's on my list and I haven't done it yet, as I continue to strengthen my spirit, guess what? If this is an idea that I'm supposed to carry out that is connected to my calling and my purpose, you can better believe it's going to get done. So think about that. Why are you not achieving? Spend some time hanging out with you, because understand this, that when you operate with the power, the spirit of the power, love, and a sound mind, then one of the things happens. Number one, or a few things happen. And number one, I was going to say, and after this, we're going to wrap up. Okay. Number one, with your power, you get that inner strength and that spiritual might, if you will, to deal with all the obstacles that are going to come your way. You will even reach out to the right people who can help you either prevent those obstacles that were not necessary, or once you are confronted with the obstacles, you will meet the right people who will help you to overcome those obstacles. That's your power. And that's an amazing thing. It keeps you from giving up. It keeps you from quitting. It helps you to focus more. And then when we talk about love, okay, so here's the thing. We all have that in us, and you can actually shut it down. And I can tell you right now, that there are television shows out there today, and pretty much all of them are about killing someone, shooting someone, murder, police, someone on trial for, well, murder. And so it's dampening our ability to recognize the love in us. And even the ability to have compassion for other people. If you can't have compassion for other people, then there's something kind of wrong with the love that you have inside you. In other words, you are putting a lid on it. Doesn't mean it isn't there. It means you're not letting it come through. Because love is that deep love that allows you to care for people. And while you will get the rewards, you care for them, and you're not always doing it because of what's in it for me. Okay, you're doing something for someone else. I mentioned giving away the books, the High Impact Power Goal Setting books, once a year to battered women. Now, I don't sit back and I wonder how many, if any of those women are going to call me for coaching. That's never my thought. My thought is, I can help these women, because that is a pet peeve of mine, that women who've been subjected to that kind of emotional and physical abuse, because they either don't think that they deserve better or whatever the case may be. So let's press on. But back to love, and then we'll wrap up on a sound mind. Love in you, as I said, it is the ability to care for others. You have that in you without expecting anything back. Now, the thing about that is, when it comes to your calling is connected to a strong kind of love. It is an agape love, where I just want to put something out there. I feel led to do this because this is my gift. This is what I'm called to do. Okay, people who are fitness trainers, they are passionate about what they do. Okay, the ones I've met, they're passionate. Okay, and they will go overboard, not hurting you, but overboard in the sense of wanting to give you information of things that you can do when they're not around, because they see what you can look like, not what you look like today, but what you can look like in the future. So I can remember, when I had my fitness trainer, and he was compassionate. Okay. And I knew he loved what he did. Okay. And he was always giving me tips to help. As a matter of fact, several years ago, I had him as a guest on this podcast. And so think about that. All right. So let's sound mind. Sound mind is where God gives you that calm, clear, peaceful mind that comes with a kind of wisdom that you need in order to maneuver through life, in order to maneuver through achieving the goals that you set. You see, when we listen to everyone else, and there's nothing wrong with you listening, and I'm not saying it because I have a podcast, or maybe I am and just don't know it, but when you listen to everyone else, when you listen to podcasts, when you watch YouTube, when you listen to all of this advice, okay, and I do my best not to give advice. I hope I'm providing guidance or information that will guide or prompt some type of inspiration in you. But when you're listening to all of this, at what point do you take the time to be still and hang out with your Creator, who has all the answers, and so that you can become strengthened and tap into the wisdom that, God has already given you? At what point do you rely on some of your own God-given wisdom? So think about this. The untapped part of you that brings achievement is the spirit. And I say untapped. I don't know all of you, but most people don't spend that time developing their spirit. They spend their time looking outside themselves. Yes, you want to connect. You want to get information. You want to learn. Okay. But at the same time, you want to spend time with your Creator, who has all the answers. And you will realize, which direction to go in, what you need to learn, who you need to listen to, instead of just kind of haphazardly and frantically searching for things. Because a sound mind is not about confusion, and a sound mind not about chaos, and a sound mind is not about you always worrying or having this kind of anxiety that doesn't take you where you desire to go. Okay. And I can talk about all of these things, and I'm going to wrap up because I said I would. I can talk about all of these things, and we'll probably talk about it more in some of our future podcast episodes. With that being said, remember to go to designingyourlifetoday.com/success series. Check out the recommended reading on designingyourlifetoday.com. Please get on my email list. The box will pop up. Put your information in there, or look in the show notes and you can get on my my email list. And also check out our updated blogs. We've got some really great information for you. In the meantime, keep doing life with power. And definitely remember that you are built by design to win.